So, session number 39. Well done, and thank you for still being there. We're still going and keeping ourselves supple and mobile. So let's just start off with that posture check. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against the imaginary wall, keeping the chest open. Tailbone pointing down, just tilt that tailbone towards the floor while you zip up and hollow. And so the knees will roll out a little bit, the arch of the foot lifting, and then just spread out the toes. Breathing, of course, full and wide into the ribs so you don't interfere with you pull up and pull in. Then just starting to warm up the joints. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, float the arms up to shoulder height and breathing in to push down. Lifting the arms up and then push down, always if you're pushing down through some thick custard. Creating some resistance to push against. Just lifting shoulder height without lifting the shoulders up into the ears and pushing down. Then lifting the arms up, taking the hands behind the head, and just do a big bend to your right side. And then lengthen back up. And a bend, elbow to floor, rib to hip, bring it back to center. Bringing the arms back down by your side. Floating the arms up, hands behind the head, and do a big bend. Everything below the waist staying still. So nothing moving from the waist down, just a bend to the side, so no twist at all. So maybe exhale up, inhale, hold. Exhale, bend, elbow to floor, other elbow to ceiling, inhale back, elbow to floor, elbow to ceiling as you exhale, inhale back. Just starting to get some flexibility into your spine and your shoulders. And again, doing that big bend to the side. And again to the other side. And then we're going to add on. Keep the headlamps on the hip bones pointing forward. Just sweeping the arms round, opening the chest, taking it into a squat. Hold that there briefly, knees pointing straight forward over the toes, and then push up nice and tall. Floating the arms up, hands behind the head. Do that big bend and lengthen back up, and again a big bend and lengthen up. Sweep the arms round, chest open, keep the chest up, just slide down that imaginary wall. Hold, and then pushing up tall. One more time, just warming up the hips and the knees and the spine. And a big bend to the side. One more to the other side. Keeping everything else still, so you keep that zip up and hollow going on. Opening the chest, do that little squat. Brief hold all the way back into the heels, and then pushing up nice and tall. Bringing the hands into prayer position, keep the headlamps on the hip bones pointing forward, nose in line with the sternum, look over the fingertips and just twist to the side. Exhale to twist, inhale to bring it back. Keeping the shoulders down. Again, getting flexibility into the spine, but of course switching on those deep stabilizer muscles to keep everything still below the waist. Then maybe change the arms into Cossack position, keeping the shoulders down. Maybe looking down to where your watch might be. So keeping that nose in line with the sternum. But trying to keep everything absolutely still below the waist. Those headlamps on the hip bones pointing forward all the time. And then if you want to, you can make that a little bit more challenging by taking the arms out to the side and then just twist. Maybe that a little bit further if you can, but making sure that nothing moves below the waist. Remember, everything below the waist stays stuck in concrete. Just a big twist. And you can always leave the hands in one of the earlier positions if you need to, if that's not comfortable. And bringing the arms back down by your side. Bend the knees just slightly, tuck the elbows into the side, and then just do a hip hitch. So hitching those hip bones into the bottom of the rib cage. In other words, a pelvic tilt. Just keep the knees slightly bent, scooping out the tummy, and just isolating those tummy muscles, and a bicep curl going on there, just to help to encourage that movement. So you're tilting your tailbone forward, bringing the hip bones to the bottom of the rib cage. And maybe just one more. Getting some length in the lower back there. Then bring the feet a little bit wider. Bend those knees again. And then rotate the hips around. Just circle those hips around. Nice big circle. Drawing circles with the tailbone. And then change direction, make it go the other way. Again, encouraging that flexibility into your spine. Get that pelvis moving. And then bring it back to the start position. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. And then tap the right foot back while the left arm goes back. And bring it back under. And then swap to the other side. So right arm forward, left arm back as the right leg goes back. And then you swap, keeping the chest lifted. So again, flexibility for the shoulder and the hip. And then maybe you could add some more buttock into that by lifting the leg. And of course, then you're adding some balance into this as well. Just to squeeze back. Try not to lean forward. Keep that chest lifted. Shoulders back and down. Reach underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. So feel that buttock squeeze. And of course, low belly for that standing leg. And then just bring it back to the start position. Tucking the elbows into the side, palms up. And slide the right foot out while you open the chest. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Squeezing back. Working into the posture muscle across the upper back. And a little bit of outer thigh. Maybe you could slide out and lift. And slide in. Keep the elbows tucked into the side, opening the chest. If that's too much, of course, you just leave the toes on the floor. Nice and smooth. Sliding out, maybe as you exhale. Inhale, bring it back. And then once more on either side. Keeping those core muscles switched on to balance. And then bring it back to the start position and take it into a knee lift. Opposite hand to knee. Again, there's an element of balance going on here. And of course, getting flexibility into your hip using your hip flexor muscle. Load bearing for that standing leg. And then what about turning the knee out and seeing if you can touch your calf? If that's too much, of course, you just stay with the knee. Try not to lean forward, keep that chest lifted all the time. Maybe you could take it a little bit lower with the hand. Take it down to the ankle. Just going to have to get a bit more of a twist on that hip. And of course, challenging your balance a little bit more. But if it's too much, of course, you can stay with the knee or the calf. And then bring it back to the start position. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels. Up against that imaginary wall. And then just lift that right arm up, follow the hand with the eye, take the arm all the way back. Turn the head, getting flexibility into the neck. Reaching forward, all the way up and round and back and down. Again, opening the chest, getting flexibility into the neck, as well as the shoulder. But keeping the headlamps on the hip bones pointing forward. Headlamps on the chest pointing forward. Keeping the shoulder itself down. And then when you complete equal numbers on both sides, come back to the start position. Float the arms up behind the head. Keep the elbows right back, bend the knees. Just slightly. And then drop the chin and do your lovely roll down. Drop, 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 drop. Then when you've gone as far as you can, let the arms dangle. Then you get a bit more drop towards the floor. Hold that there, keep that tummy button pulled up and in. And then slowly come up, link by link, bone by bone, up against that imaginary wall. And again, floating the arms up, hands behind the head. Now this time adding on a little bit. So if you just bend back, as if you're going back over a garden fence, but keep your chin down. Keep those knees slightly bent, keep the chest open. So bending back over that garden wall, but looking forward into the garden. And then lengthen back up again. Keep those knees relaxed, drop the head, peel yourself off the wall like a piece of wet wallpaper. And then when you've gone as far as you can, then you drop the arms again. Hold it there. And then again, just slowly come up, all the way up. Keep the arms close into the legs. Shoulders back and down. And again, float the arms up, hands behind the head. Keep those knees relaxed, chin down. And bend back. Keep looking forward. Keep the chest open. And then lengthen back up. And keeping those knees relaxed, drop the chin, hold on to the peach, let your breathing flow. And roll it down. Keep going. And then when you can't go any further, then you drop those arms again. Hold it there, nodding the head.
Shake, 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 shake the head. And keep engaging the tummy, supporting the back.
Slowly come up. Shoulders back and down. And then if you just like to get your mat and stand at the back of your mat, please. So don't forget that imaginary wall, tilt the pelvis under, and then just floating the arms up, taking the hands behind the head. Do that bend to your right side. Bring it back to center. Bend to the left side. Bring it back to center. Relax those knees. Keep the chin down over your peach and do the bend back over the garden fence. Looking forward, just getting some contraction into your back. Hold, looking forward. Lengthen back up. Keep those knees slightly relaxed. And do your lovely roll down again, all the way down. And then hold, and then just drop the arms. Maybe go that a little bit further. Then add the nod, 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 just to get some flexibility into your neck. Release the neck and the shoulders. And then shake, 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 shake the head. And bend the knees a little bit more if you need to. Put the hands onto the floor and come onto the hands and knees. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. If you're not comfortable on your knees, don't worry, I'll give you an alternative in a sitting position in a second. But see if you can just arch the back, drop the head, tuck the pelvis under, push the hips towards the head, look back between the knees, and then reverse. Put a dip in your back, lift your hips, slide your shoulder blades down your back. So maybe exhale the back up, inhale, hold. Exhale, dip, inhale, hold. Don't forget your peach underneath your chin. So you're not putting any strain on your neck, you're just arching and pull that tummy button up and in and dipping. Sliding your shoulder blades down your back, feel your back contract. And continuing with that, if however that's not comfortable, just come into a sitting position, hold on behind the thighs and do the curve there and sit up and then just bend back over a garden fence looking forward. So you curve and then lengthen and bend back. Still looking forward, keep the chin down over the peach. So you decide which one you want to do. And then maybe just one more time, do that big arch and a dip. And then tuck the pelvis under slightly so there is no dip in your back now. Nice flat back, peach underneath the chin. Plank of wood on the back of the head, eyes focused on the floor, hands directly under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, orange width between the knees. If that's not comfortable, just lie on your front and I'll give you an alternative to do. Now see if you can keep a cup of tea still between the shoulder blades, cup of tea on the back of the pelvis. Take a breath in and as you breathe out, slide the right foot directly out behind you and breathe in to slide it back. Slide the left foot directly out behind you and breathe in to slide it back. So just sliding out and in, alternate legs without spilling any tea. So keeping your pelvis flat and that cup of tea between the shoulder blades as well. If you're lying on your front, just stretch the legs out behind you. Still got your 2 cups of tea and then just lift and lower, alternate straight legs. Now if you're on your hands and knees, adding in opposite hand, 2 foot. So just sliding out, sliding in. Lying on your front, take the arms out in front of you, let the forehead rest or turn your head to the side and let your cheek rest. And then keeping the head down, just lift alternate opposite arm and leg just off the floor. But keeping those cups of tea still, whichever one you're doing. Cup of tea between the shoulder blades, cup of tea on the back of the pelvis. Keeping the back as flat as you can, so tummy button pulled up and in. And see if you can add a lift. Slide out and lift. Hold to breathe in and breathing out. Toes come down, hand comes down. Slide back under. So doing the slide out and lift. Toes and hand back down. Maybe you could slide out, flex the foot and lift. Bring the thumb up towards the ceiling just to give you a little bit more control. Maybe get that arm up level with the ear. Slide out, flex foot and lift. Just lie on your front, still alternate opposite arm and leg. Keeping the head down, don't forget those cups of tea. If you push the heel away from you, you see a little bit more control. You can feel those buttocks work.
Don't forget the plank of wood on the back of your head. You peach underneath your chin, between your chin and your chest. So nice and smooth and with control. Keep that tummy button pulled right up into your backbone. And then maybe you could add a little something else onto this if you're on your hands and knees. Just slide out and lift and hold. Bend the left knee while you take your right hand back. Look at the hand while you tap your foot. Bring it back into alignment, toes and hand come down. Slide back under. Swap to the other side. Reaching out, lift and hold. Bend the knee, turn the head, balance, touch the foot if you can. And then reaching forward, toes come down, slide back under. Now if you're lying on your front, just do a hip hitch. Bring the hands underneath the forehead, lengthen through the legs and hitch, alternate hip up into the bottom of the rib cage. In effect, shortening the leg, but keep the hips on the floor. So you're still working your waist, but on the floor instead of on the hands and knees. Otherwise, you're sliding out, lift, bend, and then if you can, you add your turn of the head, look at the hand while you reach it back, and then gently back down with as much control as you can manage. It's certainly challenging for your balance when you add that reach back. And then maybe one more time either side, or you carry on and do more if you want to. Bending the knee, reaching back, always one side, better than the other side. And last time, or you can do more. You decide how many you're going to do. And then when you've completed equal numbers on both sides, to your satisfaction, sit back onto the heels. Let the forehead rest down. Maybe take those arms behind you and rotate the wrists. Or if you're sitting, of course, if you're lying, of course, you would come into a sitting position. Swing the legs round in front of you, put that big beach ball on your lap, reach over the beach ball for your toes, and rotate those wrists. Doing lots of load bearing on those wrists, on those hands and knees. Tucking the pelvis underneath that ball to get the stretch through the lower back and the buttocks. And then if you're not already in a sitting position, please come into a sitting position with the knees up, feet flat on the floor, orange between the knees, peach underneath the chin, and just start off nice and easy with the hands behind the thighs. Breathing in to tilt the pelvis, breathing out to lengthen up. So maybe just breathing in to tilt and breathing out to lengthen up. So you can stay with that one if you want to, or you can tilt the pelvis, create the C curve and roll back. Extend the arms, look over your orange, hold to breathe in, breathing out, C shape up and lengthen. Getting lots of flexibility into your spine, rolling back onto the flat back of your pelvis and then pulling up onto the pointy bones of your bottom. Or you could have the arms straight out, arms over the knees. Tilt and roll back, maybe fingertips just over the knees. Hold to breathe in and breathing out, C shape up. And don't forget to straighten, nice straight back at the end. Lots of flexibility, really working those tummy muscles, keeping the shoulders down. Now if that's too much, you just stay with holding on behind the thighs, or you can make it more challenging. You could bring your hands into prayer and glue the thumbs into the chest. Breathing in to tilt, breathing out to roll back, keeping the shoulders down. Hold to breathe in and breathing out, keep the C shape and lengthen up. Now if that's too much, of course, you can stay with the earlier options. Feel those tummies work that little bit harder because you've got your hands are not helping you now. The arms aren't helping you. You're adding more weight onto your chest. They're pulling you back. So those tummy muscles have to work harder. Then what about breathing in to tilt, breathing out to roll back, hold to breathe in and breathing out, reach that right arm back. Turn the head, look along the arm, bring the arm back and pull back up. Then you would go the other way. Now if that's not comfortable with the hip flexors, you can have straight legs. Tilt and roll back, looking forward, hold to breathe in Then breathing out, turn the head, look along the arm, getting flexibility into the neck as well as the shoulder and the spine, and bring it back up. So you decide which level you want to go to. If you've got your arms out in front, of course, you could do the tilt, roll back and reach, and then pull back up. Or you can stay with the harder version, you decide. You can even do a slightly easier version if you wanted to. You could hold on behind the thighs, tilt and roll back, leave the left hand behind the thigh while you reach back with the right arm, and then pull back up, and then swap to the other side. You decide which level you can manage. And you can always have straight legs if it's not comfortable on those hips. And then of course there's more levels coming. So you do a tilt and roll back, hold to breathe in, breathing out, extend the left leg while the right arm goes out, turn the head, bring it back and pull back up. Don't forget to straighten. Tilt and roll back, extend the opposite arm and leg. Don't forget to turn the head. Then you're challenging your balance and getting flexibility into your spine. Nice and smooth and with control. Maybe breathing in to tilt, breathing out to roll back, extend the leg, extend the arms, hold it there to breathe in, breathing out, pull back up. Then you're ready to breathe in again. So just tilt and extend, rolling back, arm and leg. So keeping that going, and of course you can stay with any which one of the earlier versions if you need to. You could also maybe do both legs. Tilt, roll it back and extend the legs and the arm. Pull back up, tilt, roll back and extend. Again, nice and smooth. But you decide which level you're going for here. And then if you wanted to, we can make it even a little bit more challenging. So lift, just tilting back slightly, lift one leg, then the other leg, and extend, and bring it back. Extend, bring it back. Reaching, and bring the knees in. Reach, and bring it in. Really work those tummy muscles, hip flexors working. And of course, you could do both legs to make it more challenging. But again, you decide which level you're going for. Now, see if you can hold it there and extend the legs out and roll gently over onto your right side. Hold that there, arms out in front, head kind of dangling. And then just bring the knees into the chest and pull up to sitting again. And then what about going the other way? Extending the legs out, roll it over, and keep that head dangling, hips roll forward slightly. And you can always give a little push with that underarm and lift. So extending, rolling out. Roll that top hip forward and then push back up and then go the other way. But of course, if that's too much, you just stay with the earlier options. You decide which level. Keep the neck in line, keep your peach underneath your chin, and then finally just roll over onto your right side. Hold that there. And then if you just want to gently, please roll over onto your back. And take a moment to give your tummy a good stretch, reaching out, lengthen through the legs, lift the rib cage away from the hips. Get a good stretch through the tummy that you've just worked. And then bringing the arms back down by your side, take a moment to set this up, slide the feet in so the knees are up, feet flat on the floor. Chin down over the peach, little break in the small of your back, tread marbles across the pelvis. Add orange width between the knees to start with. Putting a glass of Prosecco on your left knee, lift the right knee up into tabletop position. Keeping that trade marble still, start to draw some circles with your right knee in the air, just as big a circle as you can, without, of course, that pelvis moving. Maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath, whatever works for you. Now, if you're okay with it, you could try a straight leg, depending on the hamstrings. If you've got tight hamstrings, just stay with the bent leg. Maybe point the toes. And again, just do as big a circle as you can, but without that pelvis moving, and keeping your left foot rooted into the floor. Now, if you wanted to make this a little bit more challenging, you could straighten out your left leg along the floor. Maybe give you a little bit more room to do a bit of a bigger circle with that right leg. If it's too much, of course, you can stay with the bent leg. You can have both legs bent, or one leg bent, one leg straight. Any combination, but keeping with the same direction. And then maybe you could add on to that if you want to. You could hold, breathe in, nod your head, breathing out, curl up, crush the grape, still going the same direction, and circle. Now you can support the head, press the head into the hand into the head, so you're not pulling on your neck. One hand or both hands if you need to, just as big a circle as you can. And then change direction, of course, and make it go the other way. Now, to see how that goes, if it's too much, of course, you can do bent leg. You can roll the head and shoulders back down again. You can have the other knee up and replace your Prosecco. You decide which level you are going for here. And then when you think you've done equal numbers in both directions, just hold it there. Straighten out the left leg, right leg if you can, if not just leave it bent, and then take the arms to crucifix position, keeping the shoulder blades glued down. Roll your lower body over to your left side. You can lift the hip up off the floor, but keep the shoulder blades down. Heave the leg back up and take it over to the other side. Keeping the legs as straight as you can. Or if it's not comfortable with that right leg straight, again, because of the hamstrings, just do bent leg. Still getting lots of flexibility into your spine and hips, and getting some stretch through that outside hip and thighs. You take it over to that left side. Straight leg or bent leg. And then when you've done equal numbers in both directions, just bring it back to the start position, replace the foot. Slide the other leg in, bring the arms back down by your side, chin down over the peach again. Put that Prosecco now on your right knee. Lift left leg up. Again, you might want to put the hands on the pelvis just to check it staying still, and then go with the circling. Again, as big a circle as you can manage, making sure the tummy is braced so those marbles stay on the tray, and Prosecco on your right knee this time. And of course you can straighten that leg up if that is comfortable for you. So slow and as controlled as you can manage. Again, half a circle on in-breath, half a circle on out-breath even. And if you want to, you can straighten out that other leg to give a little bit more room. A little bit more range of movement if you can, but all the while keeping that pelvis absolutely stable. And then you can add your curl up if you want to, pushing forward, support the head if you need to. You decide. And you can keep the legs bent, one leg bent and one leg straight. And when you're ready, change direction and make it go the other way. But you decide which level you are going for here. And just try to keep that pelvis as stable as you can while you do this. Remember, you can have the leg bent, you can bend up the other leg, you can roll the head and shoulders down. Any position that you can do which makes you keep nice and stable, but with some challenge. And then when you think you've done equal numbers of circles in both directions, just relax it back down, straighten that left leg if you can, if not, just leave it bent, and then you roll over just as you did before, just as far as you can, and then take it back the other way. Just rolling the hips, getting lots of flexibility in there. And of course your spine as you roll over. Just as far as you can, remember bend the knee if those hamstrings are too tight. Just encouraging lots of movement in there. And again, when you think you've done equal numbers in both directions, just bring it back, replace the foot, and then give your tummy a nice big stretch again. Lengthen through. Don't forget to breathe, foot and wide into the ribs. And then if you just want to gently, please roll over onto your front. And then if you're okay with it, coming up onto the hands and knees. If you're not happy on the hands and knees, then just lie on your front, and I'll give you an alternative to do in a second. Just make sure you can slide your leg out so that it doesn't go over the end of the mat. And then take a moment to set this up. Tuck the pelvis under slightly so there's no dip in your back. Peach underneath the chin, slide the shoulder blades down your back, engaging the tummy. Nice flat back. Cup of tea between the shoulder blades. Cup of tea on the back of the pelvis. Maybe spread the fingers to spread the load, or you could come up onto your knuckles if that is more comfortable. Or you could even go down on your elbows if that's better for you. Or as I say, just lie on your front, I'll give you an alternative to do. If you can, hands and knees. Full back length between the hands and the knees. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, slide the right leg straight out behind you and breathe in to slide it back. Exhale, left leg out, and in breath you slide it back. So that's all you're doing, but of course without the pelvis rocking, because you've got that cup of tea on the back of the pelvis. Without the shoulders dipping, because you've got the cup of tea between the shoulder blades. So the elbows do not bend. And then if you lie on your front, just with the forehead maybe down on the backs of the hands or down by your side, whichever is comfortable, just lift and lower alternate legs. Still got those 2 cups of tea. Now, if you're right on those hands and knees, what you could do here is you could make sure that you can slide the foot out on the mat, turn the toes under, slide the other foot out without your bottom going up in the air, and then slide the first knee back in, then the second knee back in. So go into full plank. Then you would change with it to start with the other leg. Maybe exhale out, out, inhale, bring it back, bring it back. So just sliding out, out, without that bottom moving. Remember the cups of tea. Alternating the leg that you start with. Now, if you're on your elbows, that's not going to work quite so well. So maybe just go down onto your hips and just tilt the pelvis and hover the hips off the floor and take it down. So you could just press your hip bones into the mat as you breathe in. Breathing out, just hover the hips. Hold to breathe in and then gently take it down. And then if you're on your front, you're still doing those alternate leg lifts. Or you could try the elbow one. Now, once you've got this going, with your sliding out, now hold if you can. Here's your challenge. Draw a circle with the right knee, one way, then the other way, and then the left knee, first one way, then the other way, then bring the right knee back in, and the left knee back in. You're doing all of this while keeping your torso stable. So you start with your left leg again. Slide out, hold. Just draw the circle with the knee, first one way, then the other way. Then you change legs, maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath. And then you bring the leg in and the leg in. You alternate the leg you start with, keeping that torso as stable as you can. And again, if you're on your front, you would just tilt the pelvis and hover the hips up off the floor. And then maybe if you're on your front, right down on your front, you could just lift one leg and circle it. Just circle it. Maybe do 5 in one direction, 5 in the other direction, and then change legs for as long as you would like to do that. But of course, keeping those cups of tea still on the back of your pelvis and between your shoulder blades. But on the hands and knees, are you still going? You do a slide out, circle, and circle. Remember, keeping that pelvis as stable as you can. And you go with the other leg, out, circle, and circle, and the other leg. And then if you want to carry on, you do some more. Otherwise, you just sit back on the heels, let the forehead rest down, take the arms behind you, palms up, and rotate those wrists. Ease out the wrists, sinking back, maybe open those knees a little bit, get those hips back further. Breathing full and wide into the ribs. Remember, your alternative to that is to sit with the beach ball on your lap, reach over the beach ball, and rotate the wrists. So whichever position works better. If you're doing this one, tuck the pelvis under the balls. You get that stretch into the lower back and the buttocks too. And then if you just want to, please take yourself onto your front. Letting the arms rest down by your side if that is comfortable, lengthening through the legs. Tummy button, of course, pulled up off your hot stone. Little cup of tea on the back of your pelvis. Peach underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. And then just exhale up, reach back, and inhale down. Exhale up, and inhale down. If you find your legs are starting to lift, take the legs out into a wider V shape, turn the big toes in towards one another, and then just lift and lower. Then your back will be working, but your buttocks will be more relaxed. Now if that's no good for the arms, just do crucifix position, bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle, and then lift and lower. So keeping that cup of tea still on the back of your pelvis, make sure the shoulders don't creep up around the ears. And of course you can, if it's more comfortable, take the head to the side, let your cheek rest, and then lift, look at the floor, and then turn your cheek down as you go down. But don't forget that peach, keep the chin down. You decide which position. And then, of course, don't forget the plank of wood on the back of your head, your peach underneath your chin, ears pointing forward, slide your shoulder blades down your back, and then maybe exhale up, inhale, reach back, exhale, arms out, inhale, reach back, and then gently down. So don't forget the peach, no strain on the neck. Adding in a little bit of shoulders, lats down the side, and of course your back. Then maybe just one more time, reaching back, reaching out. If that's comfortable, if it's not, you don't need to add that on. Relax down, maybe bring the hands underneath the forehead, bring the legs back into alignment, make sure you're sliding your shoulder blades down your back. Tummy button pulled up, of course, all the time. And then keeping a cup of tea still on the back of your pelvis, lift and lower, alternate legs. Remember, you're lengthening through the leg rather than lifting high. Trying not to bend from the knee or rock the pelvis because you've got your cup of tea on there. Exhale up, inhale down. Making sure that pelvis does not rock from side to side. And then maybe you could try doing a single leg, and then both together. So it'd be exhale up, inhale down, exhale up, inhale down, and again, lift and lower. But if the double's too much, it puts too much pressure on your pubic bone, of course, you can just stay with the alternate singles. Or you could, if you want to, stay with the doubles. Just lift and lower. Keep lengthening through the legs. As I say, it's not about lifting high. Try and keep your neck and shoulders as relaxed as you can. And then, of course, you can add the upper body into this as well if you want to. So either arms crucifix position, bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle, or arms down by your side. Keeping the legs long. Just lift and lower. Now if that's too much, of course, you can do upper body first and then leg or legs. You could do single, single, double with the legs. So you decide, both together or upper and lower separately. Reaching back, but you can have the arms to the side crucifix position with the elbows bent at 90-degree angle, or you could just do the single leg. You can do single, 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 double. And then maybe you could add on. Maybe you could do lift, open, squeeze together, and down. Lift, open arms and legs. Inner thigh, outer thigh working, shoulders and lats. Lift, reach back, open, squeeze and down. If that's too much, you don't need to do that. And then maybe one last level if you're interested. Lift, reach back, open, close the legs, reach forward, sweep the arms round, lift the upper body, don't forget to keep your eyes on the floor, and take it down. Keeping the legs together. Lift, open legs, open arms, squeeze legs, reach forward, reach back, lift the chest, down. So you're deciding which level you stay with. And then when you've done enough, come up, of course, onto the hands and knees. Arch the back, drop the head, pull that tummy button up and in, and stretch. Drop the head so the ears are pointing down as much as you can. Big stretch through the back. And because you've been working that posture muscle across the upper back, cross the arms please at the wrists, maybe come up onto the knuckles if that's more comfortable, and push up. You can always bring your hands a little bit closer in towards your knees, tuck that pelvis right under, press down through the hands, and then just change the crossover, still arching up, tucking under, dropping the head. If that's not comfortable, you can sit on your bottom, bring the legs round, hug the beach ball, and then pull the ball into the chest, bring those shoulder blades apart, and then drop the head onto the ball. You could always do that one instead. Then if you just want to, please take yourself onto your front, taking the forehead down onto the back of one hand, reach behind with the other hand for the foot on the same side. Press the hip into the floor, knees together, and get a really good stretch in the front of that hip, just pressing it right down into the mat. Remember, you can lift the head and the shoulders if you want to, which would give you a little bit more stretch, but make sure there's no strain on the neck, keeping the eyes focused on the back of the hand. And then when you're ready, just swap to the other side. If you can't get hold of the foot, get hold of the sock, or indeed the trouser leg, or you could just cross the other ankle over that ankle and ease the leg in that way. Head and shoulders up, but only if you feel you need that extra stretch. And then replacing the foot, coming up, and then sit back onto the heels, let the forehead rest down if that is comfortable for you. If it is not, just sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, put that beach ball on your lap again, reach over the beach ball for your toes, tucking the pelvis under the ball. Get a good stretch in the lower back and the buttocks. Remember, you can have your arms behind if you're in this position. Or if there's a gap between the forehead and the floor, make a fist. Put your head on the fist. If there's still a gap, you can put the other fist on top of it. But try not to lift the hips. Try and keep the hips right back onto the heels, keeping the shoulders down, neck relaxed. And when you've had a really good stretch in the lower back and the buttocks, coming up onto the hands and knees, then just walk the hands into the knees. Tuck your toes under, hover the knees, push the hips up, walk the hands into the toes with the head down, the knees slightly bent, engaging the tummy, always bringing your head up slowly and last, so your blood catches up with your head. And then bring
yourself back into standing, back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that wall. Keep that tailbone pointing down, so you've still got your zip up and hollow, chest open. Drop the right ear down into the shoulder, while you slide the left hand right down the seam of the trouser leg. Stretch neck, stretch shoulder, hold that there. Turn the head and look down at that right shoulder, keeping the torso stable. Turn the head and look up and behind into that left corner, encouraging lots of flexibility into your neck. And then drop the chin all the way down into the chest. Slide those shoulder blades right down your back. Shoulders down away from the ears and dropping the head, using the weight of the head to stretch the back of the neck. Keep that tailbone pointing down with your zip up and hollow. And then lifting the head, drop that left ear while the right hand slides down. Feel that stretch through the neck and the shoulder. Turn the head and look down at the left shoulder, pulling the shoulders back and down all the time. Turn the head and look up and behind into the right corner, as far back and up as you can. Then just gently bring the chin all the way back down into the chest, lifting the head back up against that imaginary wall, and then just roll those shoulders around. Get those shoulders moving again, big shoulder roll. And then holding that there, just lifting the arms and then bend the knees, swing the arms and loosen it up a little bit. Just drop the head, swing the arms, loosen it all up. And then bring it back, back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. Tailbone pointing down, keeping that zip up and hollow. And maintain, of course, your perfect Pilates posture until session number 40, which is next week. Can you believe it? But thank you very much for staying with me through all of these sessions. Who knew it was going to be this long? Anyway, we'll just have to keep going, keep at it, stay fit, stay well, and well done. Thank you very much, and looking forward to eventually seeing you, but in the meantime, you'll just have to see me. Bye for now.